Hey guys, Drutter here. It's the 26th of March 2015 and I'm in my greenhouse at my grandma's house here in Vancouver, BC, Canada, just doing a garden video, as I mentioned in my last video, which was the tomato seed giveaway. I'm going to be doing some garden videos because my life is going to be sort of centered around gardening. I'm going to be doing a lot of it. I'm sort of landscaping and yard working here for my grandma. Because she needs a lot of help. So I will be able to do that this year. As for the silver analysis videos, which I really enjoy doing, and I know a lot of people like, I'm not sure when I'll be able to get back to those. It's kind of a matter of time. I have to put a lot of time now into working just to, to keep the bills paid, and I don't have anything more to give to that right now, but I'm looking for ways to make it happen. Also with my activism and my promotion of liberty that I like to do, which I feel is mostly what I want to be doing, what I would like to be doing, is completely on hold for that reason, but also because of vulnerability that I've experienced over the past few years. So just a little recap, that's where this channel is right now. But this video is going to be about gardening, and there's a lot of people who enjoy that aspect of my channel in the past, so if that's you, this video is for you, and I will be hopefully doing several of them this year. I can't go through the whole process of tomato gardening from seed back to seed again. I'm going to be doing it, it's just I can't promise you that this channel will be the one you want to watch if you need help with that kind of thing. I've done a lot of videos about it in the past. Feel free to search my channel for tomato or gardening, and you'll see a lot of videos about it, and you can look at those. But I'm not even an expert in tomato gardening. I've done it a lot, I have some experience, and I enjoy it. Each time I do a video, I'll show you where I'm at in the process and tell you how things have been going, and just provide some insights and hints and troubleshooting and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm not going to be going through the whole process, so if you need the instructions on how to grow tomatoes, then that's for a different channel. Here's where I'm at with my tomatoes. These are my Amish paste seedlings, and these are my Sweet 100 seedlings. Not that you can tell the difference at this stage. At this stage the plant is nothing more than basically a straw for sucking up moisture and nutrients, and a couple of fake leaves, which aren't even really tomato leaves. They don't look like tomato leaves, they don't smell like tomatoes. They're just to gather a little bit of sunlight to power the plant through to producing its first set of real leaves, which I think is going to happen any day now. We're getting close to that point. What the plant needs at this stage is light. It needs lots of good direct sunlight. It doesn't need a lot of heat. It doesn't need to be super warm in here, but it does need to be providing a lot of light for the plants. They need to soak up light to get to the next stage. And as for the soil, it should not be too damp. Do not make the soil too damp at this stage. This is supposed to be the time when the plant is drying out a little bit before you water again. This here is a little bit damp. I wouldn't really want it any damper than that. Maybe those are better there. I like to dry it out almost totally dry. If you're not super experienced with the plants, don't really take them that far. Don't dry them right out. I like to dry them almost right out at this stage, and then give them a drink, and then they perk right back up. But I don't, you don't want to see them wilting. You don't want them falling over. You want them to dry out, but not to suffer, basically. And then you water them, and then they continue on growing. But at this stage, not too much water. Now these are germinating because my baseballs, I told you about in the last video, did not come up. So now I have some orange, and this one is a black Russian bell tomato, which I haven't grown before. A friend gave me some of those seeds. So I'm doing 4 different types this year. Sweet 100s, Amish paste, and then the other 2 I just mentioned, instead of the baseball type. And there's a little note for you. Don't try and grow seeds that come from Monsanto. These tomatoes happen to be, of course, I mentioned last time, volunteers. They just came up in the garden. Well, what I didn't realize, and just realized later, is that they were duds. They were Monsanto seeds or GMO of some kind. Probably if I had gone to Subway and got a tomato in my sandwich or something and throwing away a scrap in my compost, and then it came up the next year. That's probably what happened. And those seeds will not grow. They're like mules. You produce a viable offspring, but that offspring does not produce offspring. So I ate the tomato, which was the offspring, and its seeds did not do anything. It can't propagate to the next generation. So I dumped those and started some orange and some black bell style tomatoes. So we'll see how those do this year. These are two of my classics though, Amish Paste and Sweet 100, that I've been doing for years and years. And really looking forward to seeing what those do next. Don't forget at this stage to turn a quarter turn or maybe half a turn each day just to get the plants growing evenly. They'll aim toward the sun each day. If you're growing indoors, obviously that's a totally different story, but I am not doing that this year. Just going straight to the greenhouse. And these I'm going to thin out, so I'm going to decide which one of each, or maybe I'll take two from each. And then I'll transfer those into slightly bigger pots throughout April. And then in May is probably when these will go into the garden, but that is weather permitting, of course. It needs to be at least 10 degrees outside, even at night, for tomatoes to survive, and we're not there yet in Vancouver, although it has been in early spring. If you're having trouble germinating, what you need to think about, well, actually this is a good insight into gardening overall, I think, is to ask, what would nature do in that situation? So when these seeds are supposed to be germinating, imagine in the wild, because plants essentially came from the wild. We've modified them slightly over time, selective breeding and whatnot, but these are essentially wild organisms, these heirloom plants. So what would they need in the wild? What would they want to germinate? And a tomato likes to grow when it's fairly warm. It doesn't grow in the early spring. So to get them started in the early spring, we're tricking them here with a greenhouse, and I've got the heat turned up a little bit as well. And of course the greenhouse is providing plenty of light, but protecting them from the elements. So what a tomato needs at this time of year is for it to believe that it's mid-spring or late spring. And to do that, you just need it to be wet, as it is in spring, and you need it to be warm, as it does tend to get on a nice warm day in the mid to late spring. And you want that temperature to get up, and then all of a sudden the tomatoes spring into life and pop right out, and as these ones have done. But we need warmth and we need wetness, so make sure you've got enough moisture. These are moderately damp, and make sure you have enough warmth. So some people like to put their tomatoes germinating in a glass of water even, and then transfer it into soil once they start to sprout. Or some people put it into the soil and then they make the soil nice and damp, and then they'll put it somewhere warm, like on top of a fridge or freezer, where there's sort of a passive heat vent coming up the back or something and warming the area. Or people will put it, of course, in a greenhouse like this, or even on a windowsill where it's getting a little bit of warmth from the sun or something. They don't need light, of course, at this stage, but they do need it warm and they do need it wet. So if you're germinating at this stage, please remember warm and wet. And then when you are done germinating and you have little seedlings, then you want to taper off a little bit of that moisture so that you don't get damping off problems on the surface of the soil. You want it to stay a little bit dried out, and you want to decrease the heat. You don't need it quite so hot for these guys. They're enjoying the heat in here actually, but they don't need quite this much heat. At this stage, what they need really is they need lots of light. Also doing some spinach this year. Haven't really done a lot of it before, but I do like spinach and it's got a lot of nutritional benefits, so trying spinach this year. And lettuce. I've done lettuce a few times, but never from seeds, so here we go, trying something new. I like to try a little bit of something new every year as a gardener, and try a lot of things I've done and just need improving on. I like to improve on things I've done, and I like to try a little bit new here and there as well, so I can keep on learning. My grandma has done sweet peas, and my grandpa, before he died, did sweet peas for decades, and grandpa always did it from heirloom seeds, but now that he's gone, grandma likes to continue it, although she just does it from a package. So I got her some sweet pea seeds and planted them in here. They're germinating now, and hopefully these will be up within about a week to 2 weeks into little seedlings, and then after that I can put them out into the garden where she can see them. She can't do it herself anymore at all, so I'm just carrying it on for her. Here's a view of the back garden, similar angle as was in my last video. You might be able to see that there's been some developments. Everything is going wild here. That's garlic there. Behind it is summer crocus. It doesn't flower until Summer, obviously. There's more garlic there. Delphinium, that's a rose bush in the back along the fence. Another rose, that's the other delphinium. And I have the rhubarb coming up now. This is the lily garden here. There's a couple of really big ones that come up here next to these posts. They're just poking out of the ground now. But there's all kinds of lilies in here, and whenever Grandma or Grandpa got a lily in a hanging basket or a potted plant or whatever, if someone was sick or whatever, then once it was done flowering, it would come out here to the garden. And now they just come up here every year. There's all different shapes, sizes, and colors. Those ones are already quite bushy. And these will be really nice in midsummer. That's the hosta. Trilliums. The tulips are coming up. Some of them are already out. I have yet to actually get out here and deal with these garden beds. They're kind of a mess still. Everything's going wild already though. And my work is absolutely cut out for me here. Poppies. Don't forget to tell everybody else where this garden is, especially around July. Gonna need you guys. I'm gonna keep it short, but I'll talk to you guys soon.